Welcome to another edition of Bet with Bobano. A brand new week is upon us. Monday, July 22nd. And of course, MLB is the focus today on this edition of Bet with Bobano. We'll be breaking down the MLB card. And by the way, I have a winner already in the books today. We had over 8.5 with the Rays and the Yankees, the one lone afternoon game. The Yankees doing all the work for us pretty much as they beat the Rays 9-1. So a nice way to start the day, and I need it. I had a terrible baseball day yesterday on Sunday, brutal. So we needed a good start to today, and we got it. It's been an up and down baseball season, but the best part of the baseball season for me really has been from the beginning of July. Overall, this month has been a whole lot better than the up and down start of the season, so that's been good to see, and hoping to have a nice, strong finish here to the month of July as far as MLB is concerned. So we'll break down the MLB card in just a moment. Just a couple show notes. We will begin recording next week division previews for the NFL, college football conference previews right here on my channel exclusively. We've got lots of guests helping me out for these shows as well. Philip Nelson, by the way, former quarterback with the Minnesota Golden Gophers, East Carolina are the Pirates. Little bit in the XFL, a little bit in the NFL, a little bit in the CFL too, in terms of pro football participation for him. Philip Nelson will be joining me for a couple of those preview shows to help me with the NFL and college football breakdown. So we've got a couple other guests planned as well in terms of former football players to help me out with the preview shows. For the NFL division previews and the college football conference previews. Looking forward to that. I mean, it's right around the corner. I mean, NFL training camps open this week. College football is about a month away, August 24th, that first day of college football action, Saturday, August 24th. It's not that far away, week 0, if you will. And by the way, speaking of NFL and college football as well, we will have my NFL and college football season win totals and futures betting report unleashed and unveiled next Thursday, August the 1st, is when that report will be ready. You'll get all my season win totals, NFL, college football, division futures, conference futures, and Super Bowl futures for the NFL, conference futures, national championship futures for college football. There'll also be a lot of yes, no, will they make it or not to the playoffs in college football as well. We'll have a few of those bets. And there's a few teams with great value at plus prices in college football to make the 12-team college football playoff that I think are going to be very good bets. And those will be part of the win total and futures report as well. So very much excited about that being released and posted at Dub Club on the subscription platforms next Thursday, August 1st. Looking forward to that. And a reminder, unfortunately, by the way, last week we did as far as promoting the Ian Cameron subscriptions. Last week we talked about the $39 off for birthday promo codes for my birthday week. Those offers are ended yesterday. So the prices are back to the regular price, 1 month all sports, 3 months all sports, and 1 year all sports. 1 month all sports at Dub Club, $75. 3 months all sports, $200, and 1 year all sports, $750. So those 3 subscription options at Dub Club are back to regular price, but the 6 months all sports subscription discount is still on, and it will be valid and available to you all the way through until August the 24th, the first day of the college football season. So again, that's $400 down to $250 US, all sports. Now through, like if you sign up today, you're going to be subscribed all the way through to January 22nd, 2025. So it's a rolling 6-month subscription. So the day you sign up, that's when your 6-month subscription begins. So if you were to sign up today, it would take you all the way into January of next year. You'll get the entire NFL regular season, probably a little bit into the playoffs as well, the college football season. If you sign up today, again, $250 US for 6 months all sports, which is $150 off the regular price of $400. So again, you can subscribe to that, dubclub.win/r/Bobano. It was a great NFL and college football season combined last year, 22.2 units, and hopefully more good results coming up this year in college football as well. And again, the full card, high volume card daily at Dub Club. But if you're looking for something a little bit more compact, a short card, a place where you can subscribe for just the top plays on a daily basis for me in all sports, that would be now at SoBet. Again, there's the link on the screen right there. It's $9.95 per month for that. And with that subscription, you will have access to just the top plays and the best bets. I'll be honest, because we're transparent here on this show. Wasn't the greatest first weekend using SoBet with the results, but it's a long process. It's $9.95 per month subscription with that. SoBet.io. The link is there. Again, this is a tough time of year. So if you want to wait until football starts to jump on this or any of the other subscription options, that's fine. Because I'll tell you what, I'll be honest with you. Forthright. Hard truth and honesty right here from yours truly. MLB betting is volatile coming out of the All-Star break. We saw it over the weekend. I had an amazing Saturday or a great Friday. I had an up and down Saturday and a horrible Sunday. We had a little bit of everything. We had the good, the okay, and the ugly and the bad. And you're going to see volatile results coming out of the All-Star break. Pitchers have been off a little bit longer because of the break. So again, and it's very important, and I want to stress this. For me, the unit amounts and the dollar amounts that I'm putting in play, especially with MLB coming out of the All-Star break, it's a little bit lower, because of just that volatility and the erratic results that sometimes you will see. So again, I that's the approach for me. I recommend, keep things a little lighter as well. I mean, I obviously won't, tell you what to do. It's your own money, but I'm just saying from my standpoint, I find, the results coming out of the All-Star break can be a little erratic. So just better beware, this first week or so, coming out of the All-Star break when it comes to MLB. But again, the best bet top play subscription option is there at SoBet. $9.95 per month for that. All right, let's get into the Monday card. Let's break down some games. And let's begin with the New York Mets taking on the Miami Marlins. We've got Peterson, the lefty, for the Mets. And we've got Honeynut Chirinos here for the Miami Marlins on the mound. We've got the Mets minus 145 road favorites. The total in this game currently sitting at 8.5, pretty much across the board. So one of the stupid decisions I made this past weekend, and I'm going to consider it stupid, is the New York Mets were sizzling offensively going into the All-Star break. Okay, they were hitting everything in sight. This was a team that was scoring 6 runs, 7 runs on a regular basis going into the All-Star break. Their offense and their lineup was in great form. And I thought, especially against the Miami Marlins, who, their pitching certainly leaves a lot to be desired. The Mets could just, come out of the All-Star break, just regain that form again offensively and be strong once again as far as that's concerned. But that really didn't happen. Their high water mark over the weekend was 4 runs against the Marlins on Friday, and then they scored just 3 runs in the last 2 games combined. And keep in mind, they faced Roderi Munoz, who hasn't been very good, and Trevor Rogers, who actually has been better lately, but he had a rough start to the season. Yet they could only muster 3 runs in those starts combined. So I'm off the bandwagon for now when it comes to the Mets lineup. They're going to have to show me, they can hit right now before I'm ready to back them. Now you look at David Peterson. He's been excellent. He's been very consistent. His last 5 starts, he has given up 2 runs or less in all 5 starts. The Mets are 5-0. In Peterson's last 5 starts. This does feel like it may not be a bad spot to back the Mets. They certainly have a guy that's pitching very well going into this matchup. You look at the Marlins, they've perked up a little bit against lefties. That would be the one thing that would, something you should look at, that, even though the numbers are great for Peterson, Miami's hit lefties a little bit better the last 10 games than they have most of the season. We'll see if that transpires tonight. As far as Yanni Honeynut Chirinos here for the Miami Marlins, he got roughed up July 12th, 7 runs, 8 hits allowed, 5.2 innings against Cincinnati. Really didn't pitch that well in that game against the Reds. Prior to that, though, he was giving up 3 runs or less in the majority of his starts. But I'm not in a rush to back the Mets here. They have been cold at the plate. And they couldn't hit Roderi Munoz, whose numbers are not good at all. And that's a bit alarming in my opinion, that they got shut down by him on Saturday and didn't really fare that much better. So, yeah, I lean Mets, but, I've been burned by them a couple of times here this weekend. So it's going to be a pass for me. Just a small lean to the Mets here in this game at around minus 140. All right, next up, we continue along. We've got the St. Louis Cardinals and the Pittsburgh Pirates. Andre Palante on the mound for the Cardinals. Mitch Keller for the Pirates. We've got Pittsburgh minus 125, home favorites, 8.5 the total. I think the Pirates are worth a bet here. I do. I think they're playing great baseball. They did lose the finale of the Keystone State battle against the Phillies on Sunday, shut out 6-0. But prior to that, they won the first 2 games against the Phillies, still took 2 or 3 in that series against one of the best teams in the National League and one of the best teams in all of Major League Baseball. They're raking at the plate right now. No one more so than O'Neal Cruz right now has been absolutely tremendous since the All-Star break concluded. Just a torrid weekend for him against Philadelphia. You look at Mitch Keller, not exactly someone I've been rushing to back, but 2 starts prior to the All-Star break against the Mets and the White Sox, pitched very well in those games. Has a 2.91 ERA here at PNC Park this season in Pittsburgh. So his best work has come here at his home ballpark, where he has a 5-2 record in that aforementioned 2.91 ERA. So does have good numbers here at home. Meanwhile, you look at Palante, and there's a lot of things that point to him kind of regressing. Didn't have a great final start before the break against Kansas City, giving up 4 runs, 6 hits, and 6.1 innings. His overall numbers, 4.21. He's actually pitched a little better on the road, but there's a lot of the peripherals of xFIP, hard hit contact rate, swing strike rate that point to probably some regression negatively for Andre Palante moving forward. You can't argue with Pittsburgh's current form, 8-2 in their last 10 games. They've played some really good ball to get them back above the 500 mark. Hot pursuit right now of the St. Louis Cardinals in the NL Central. So this is a very big series at home for Pittsburgh. I think they have a chance to win the opener here tonight. I would look at the Bucks here, minus 125. Pittsburgh, I think, worth a look here, minus 120 to minus 125 as short home favorites tonight at PNC Park. All right, we move along. Next up, it is the Cincinnati Reds taking on the Atlanta Braves. Hunter Green, the flamethrower for the Reds. Ronaldo Lopez for the Braves. Atlanta minus 140. Home favorites in this game. The total 7.5. Under, certainly I could lean in that direction. First 5 full game potentially. I mean, you definitely have to love what we're seeing right now from Hunter Green for Cincinnati. The last 3 starts, he's been lights out. He's been just racking up the Ks, lighting up the radar gun, lighting up the strikeout count. 2 earned runs allowed in his last 17.2 innings. So he's been really good against St. Louis, Detroit, and Colorado. Only 1-2 in those starts, but some of those starts were lack of run support. Solid numbers against the Braves in the past. He's pitched, decently against them here the last couple meetings. We'll see how he fares here tonight in this one. Ronaldo Lopez, I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. I know he's had a great year, and I know he's pitched well, and there's been times I've said, well, he can't keep doing this. But come on, 1.88 ERA overall, 1.24 ERA at home this year in Atlanta at Truist Field. Truist Park, I should say. It is Truist Park. That's not sustainable. I don't care how, Miller Huggins is not sustaining a 1.24 home ERA. Sandy Koufax is not sustaining a 1.24 ERA. You are talking about a situation right now where there's going to be some tough times coming around the pike for Ronaldo Lopez. And now that he's, we're into the second half of the season, and maybe we saw signs of it in his last start. I was waiting to see, was there finally going to be a start where Ronaldo Lopez kind of labored a little bit, finally got hit a little bit, had to grind through a start rather than just roll through and mow everybody down like he's done so much. Well, sure enough, in his last start before the All-Star break 9 days ago against San Diego, 3 runs, but 11 hits allowed in 6 innings in that start against the Padres. So I truly believe this guy's going to regress a little bit. I think Cincinnati at the dog price is worth a look here. Plus money, first 5 full game split with Hunter Green. I know they had a brutal weekend in Washington, but it's not like Atlanta played a great weekend, and Atlanta's just 500 in their last 10 games. In fact, 3-5 in their last 8 games. So I think at Cincinnati at the dog price with how great Hunter Green has been, the last 3 games is worth a look here. First 5 full game split. All right, we got the Phillies and the Twins, a little interleague series here. Ranger Suarez for the Phillies, Bailey Ober for the Twins. We've got Philadelphia slightly now road favorites in this game. We've seen some money come in on the Twins, all the way down now to about minus 115 with the Phils as road favorites from an opener of minus 135. 8 being the total here in this game. I think Minnesota is live. But Ober's one of those pitchers where it seems like my luck with him has not been great, where the times I've bet on him, he hasn't won. The times I've bet on him, he hasn't been nearly as sharp. And the times I bet against him, he's been like 1 run allowed. So I kind of want to take out Bailey Ober and what he does or does not do, how he performs tonight against the Phillies. I'm more so interested in trusting the Twins to get to Ranger Suarez, because to me, Ranger Suarez did not pitch well going into the break. He gave up. He really got smacked around going into the break. His last 4 starts going into the All-Star break were not good. He has given up 19 runs in his last, counting it up here, 23.2 innings. Not what you want to see. 19 runs in his last 23.2 innings of work over his last 4 starts. And what's the one thing about the Twins this year? They've hit left-handed pitching very well all year. They have had not much of an issue producing against southpaws, against lefties. I think that's got a decent chance to continue. I like the team total here for Minnesota, a cheap 3.5 juice to minus 125. I think the Twins can get to 4 runs tonight here against Ranger Suarez, who is, by the way, another thing that makes me like that Minnesota team total, over 3.5 here. Suarez gave up 6, or Oakland scored 6 in Suarez last start for the Phillies. Atlanta scored 5 against him. Miami scored 6 against him. Detroit scored 4. San Diego scored 5. So the opposition has scored at least 4 runs in each of Ranger Suarez's last 5 starts, which means we should be in a good spot here to ask the Twins to get us to 4 runs. So I do like Minnesota's team total here in this one tonight, over 3.5. You can get that around minus 125. All right, White Sox and Rangers, Eric Fedde, Michael Lorenzen, your matchup here. Texas minus 175, home favorites, 8 the total in this game. A mild lean to the over, but I don't love it because you never know with this White Sox team. And to be honest, they did nothing with the bats. The sticks were dormant against Kansas City over the weekend. 1 run in each of those 3 games, getting swept by the Royals at Kauffman Stadium. And Fedde, to me, is another one that I don't think he's going to be able to sustain what he's done. I'm not a big Michael Lorenzen fan. He got crushed by the Angels in his last start before the break. So there's indicators that point to runs in this game. And I lean over 7.5, over 8, which is the prevailing number here. But the problem is trusting this damn White Sox lineup. It's just so feeble. I mean, my goodness, 1 run in each of the 3 games over the weekend against the Kansas City Royals. That's tough when you're trying to look at an over. So it's just a very mild, modest opinion for me that maybe we can find this game going up and over the total with the White Sox and the Rangers, knowing full well how futile the White Sox offense can be. All right, we got the Milwaukee Brewers and the Chicago Cubs, little NL Central battle. Tobias Myers for the Brewers on the mound, Javier Assad for the Cubs. We've got Milwaukee minus 125 road favorites, 8 the total. This could be an under potentially here. Cubs are a team that offensively, they didn't really do much over the weekend against Arizona. They got a great start, though, out of Shota Imanaga, the rookie, the lefty. He pitched great. Kept them in the game, even though the offense again struggled, gave them a chance to win. And you obviously see that they were just able to scratch just enough runs there in order to. I was just going to say, I didn't know Connor Mack was available today. Apparently, he's telling me he's around, so I'll send him the link. Let me just send that to him. All right, there we go. See if we might be joined by Connor Mack. Hold on that. All right, yeah. But as far as this game goes here, I've lost my train of thought here. There we go. Brewers and Cubs. There we go. Yeah, maybe the under here. I certainly don't look at the Cubs as a lineup that's feeling it right now. 4 runs in 3 games coming out of the All-Star break against Arizona. Milwaukee was crushing the ball over the weekend against Minnesota. They did score 8 runs. Tobias Myers has been solid, but again, this is more so, do we trust the Cubs lineup, which hasn't exactly been, crushing the ball here coming out of the break. Meanwhile, you've got Assad for the Cubs, and I still like Assad. I still think he's a bet-on pitcher. I think he can neutralize the Brewers a little bit here tonight. He hasn't pitched since July 13th. That was his first start back from a little bit of a stint away on the IL. Back, kind of struggled though in that game. That is a concern against St. Louis. That when he made that return July 13th, he allowed 3 runs on 7 hits in just 2.1 innings. So we'll see how he fares in this matchup. But I still think he's a good pitcher, can be a good pitcher, can come in here and pitch pretty solidly here for the Cubs tonight in this game. 3.27 ERA overall, 2.38 ERA at Wrigley. That's what really makes me think he can pitch well tonight. He's got great numbers this year pitching here in Chicago at Wrigley Field. So would lean under the total here with the Brewers and the Cubs in this one. Not much on the side in this game. God, if I could trust the Cubs lineup, I might be interested in them as a slight home underdog here because I like Assad. I think he's a bet-on pitcher in this spot. Good numbers at home at Wrigley, but this lineup just ain't hitting right now. And that's definitely the concern that I have with the Chicago Cubs right now is whether they're able to hit worth a lick. And that's the reason why I'm probably going to stay clear of them tonight, even though they're getting a nice little home underdog price, and even though I like Javier Assad. C-Mac in the house here to get the week started for this Monday. C-Mac, what's going on?
What up? Nothing. Just ready to roll here in the back. What game are we on here?
We're on Brewers Cubs. Did you have anything there? I did not bet anything there. I just lean under. That's about it. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm on the under here. Give me the first 5 under, 4.5. I think Assad can pitch well. Both these lineups haven't really hit these 2 pitchers, and they've seen each other, obviously enough throughout the years. In this one, the Cubs just aren't swinging any bats. You know what I mean? Until they start scoring some runs. I know they scored a few runs before the break against the Orioles when they swept them, but right back to nothing. For them. I know they won 2-1 yesterday. Myers has been pretty good. I think he pitched well on the road in this one. I kind of like the Brewers. I'd stayed off the Brewers. I know they won the other day 8-4. What was yesterday's score? They lose
Brewers, yesterday. It was they scored 8 and they put 8-7 yesterday. They hung on.
They won again. So 8-4, 8-7. Yeah. But I'm basically on the under. I'm not going to mess with the Brewers. Give me the under.
All right, good stuff. All right, quick hitter through. All right, we'll throw out the first couple games that I talked about. We've got Cardinals. You know what? Actually, I'll throw this one out because I skipped it. I went through the 6:40 Eastern games already. I missed this one, so we'll talk about it now. Detroit and Cleveland. Tarek Skubal and Carlos Carrasco. The pitching matchup. I agree with the money to Detroit. Now it is -135. With Detroit now as road favorites, 7 the total. But Detroit's playing good baseball, quite honestly. They're playing better. They're creeping close to the 500 mark. And don't look now, are the Cleveland Guardians. You knew it was going to happen. At 59-39, eventually they're going to hit a little bit of a rough patch. They're going to struggle a little bit. You can't keep playing that clip of baseball win percentage-wise for 162 games. It's just impossible. You're going to go through a little rough patch, a little blip at some point. And I think Cleveland is finally undergoing a little bit of a rough patch here. They're just 3-7 in their last 10 games. They lost 2 of 3 to San Diego at home. I think Skubal's a better arm than Carrasco, no question. So I thought Detroit was worth a bet here. What do you think, C-Mac there? Tigers, Guardians.
Yeah, I think they are too. I mean, there's only one guy, even on the road, that's dicey too, that you'd back as a favorite. I mean, it's Skubal, because other than that, I don't want to back the Tigers too much, only if dogs. But they've been a little bit better. Bats came alive a little bit there against the Jays. This gone from 7.5 to 7. I get it. Carrasco was pretty good that start versus the Rays like 2 weeks ago. I thought they could get 3 off him, and they got 2 and nothing else there early, which was a little bit surprising. But the Rays, oh man, let's not even get into them. That team's so up and down, and obviously they scored 1 run today, and the Yankees finally win. But yeah, I thought this was under. And this one, I think Skubal could pitch one thing, Ramirez is the only guy that's really seen him. 7 for 17, maybe a look there. Nobody else has really even seen Screwball in the few, and just a few at bats. And the Guardians' bats just all of a sudden got cold. They did. I thought they were playing. You just mentioned it, a little bit above how probably good this baseball team is, truly. So I get it. I'd be. It's low enough for me. I lean here Detroit on the thing because this is. If it got up a little more, I'd have to take -1/2 running with an offense like that. I can't do that. So lean under, lean the Tigers.
All right, rapid fire, because these are the games we talked before Connor joined us. Cardinals, Pirates. I'm on the Pirates here. What do you got? Anything there?
Man, this one's one of the close for me leans here strong. And this is tough because there's two things is why it's keeping me off here, Bobano, is Pirates are red hot, and Palante's on the mound. Yep. Two things that kind of scare me because I think the Cardinals playing pretty good baseball. Not great, but the bats have been alive more. Burleson, this kid's turned out to be good. If he could play in the bigs and hit 30 home runs, he's a big guy. He's not known for his defense, but if he could do this, I think he already has 19 homers because those guys are getting old. Goldschmidt and Arenado, they need some of these guys to get going. And Keller, he pitches 3 innings. They really only took him out of that start in Chicago before the break to rest him because he's their workhorse. I think he's at 115 innings. Which is a lot. So they took him out there. But the Cardinals have had some success off him. I kind of lean Cardinals a little bit. Tomorrow's Skeens, right?
I believe so. Let me just double check on that. I believe it is. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, this game was so tough. Like I kind of lean Cardinals first 5 a little bit and maybe the over. Like, can they get some off a Keller? Because the Pirates, the bats have been a little bit better. Can they get some off Palante? So first 5 over and full game over. This one's been on the mind for me. We've been in the last 3 or 4 hours. Yeah, and I just stare at this thing in every which way, and I go through every goddamn thing in this game. Yeah,
that does happen. There's no question that does happen. But I would. I could get there with the over. You are talking about 2 teams that are hitting a little bit better. We'll see how that one goes. One team I'm off their bandwagon tonight. We talked about this game earlier. Mets and Marlins. I was on the Mets a lot before the All-Star break. Their team total overs, I was betting that every day, and they're just crushing it, that lineup was. And I'm silly because I've always one that says practice what you preach. I didn't do that. I did the opposite. I say be careful. The team's going into the All-Star break playing one way. Be careful saying it's going to continue and just pick right back up again where they left off after the All-Star break. And I started betting the Mets team totals over again this weekend against Miami, and they've gone ice cold. I mean, you've got the fucking likes of Roderi Munoz and Trevor Rogers, who aren't the greatest pitchers in the world, shutting them down. So that's definitely not what you want to see. I'm off the Mets tonight. I've been burned a couple times this weekend. Although I like Peterson and the way he's pitching, I'd lean that way, but I've been burned a couple times. At the same time, I don't think much of Honey Nut Yanni Chirinos here for the Miami Marlins. But they couldn't hit Roderi Munoz. Honey Nut Chirinos doesn't have great numbers. Maybe the Mets struggle against him too. So I'm off this game. What do you think?
Yeah, I think you take the dog here in the Marlins, or you don't play it. Yeah, the Mets, you got all kind of what you could out of them before the break. And I worry this team's 500, so the streaks are going to be streaky, the losses and the wins are going to be, streaky wins, kind of like how they did. I don't know if they score any runs, Chirinos, but this seems like a good spot. Mets aren't hitting. Your home start for a guy who hasn't been great off probably his worst start of the year. That last start he had was when he gave up 7 earned. So I think he could pitch well. It's real tough for me kind of at this price to trust the Marlins. Even at plus 130, it's like they just still don't hit. I like if this was plus 180, I'd be all over it. But, I think this is a Marlins play, and this one's close for me too. There's just no way I could back the Mets. Peterson's been all right, and the Marlins all year haven't hit left. They haven't hit anything here. All the money's on the Mets. This line's just dropping. Yeah. So, Marlins are nothing.
Yeah, I know there's a slew of cappers that look into that line movement stuff, and it's right away. It's almost like, hey, you got to look in that direction when it's going that way. Cincy, Atlanta, we talked about this earlier. I think Ronaldo Lopez, sell Ronaldo Lopez in the second half. I'm sorry. He's not – there's no way he's keeping up a sub-2 ERA the rest – forget it. Not happening. I know he's having a great bounce-back year, He's a veteran. He's been around the block. There's no way he's keeping that up. And the fact he gave up 11 hits in his last start before the break against the Padres tells me this guy's going to get cracked sooner rather than later. I'm on Cincy here as a dog. I like the way Hunter Green's going for them right now. So I know they got shit kicked by Washington over the weekend, and obviously they're playing a good Atlanta team. But I think Reds as a dog is worth a shot here with Hunter Green. First 5 full game. What do you think?
This tricky one here because Braves unders. I can't trust the lineups here. I don't trust the Reds too. Like they have those spurts at offense. They look awful this weekend. Yeah. I mean, for them not to win a game after there was so much. Oh, Reds are turning
Maybe
around.
I should consider Braves team total under as like some insurance in case the Reds lose like 2-1.
Maybe
well, but they don't hit.
I still and Green's been pretty good all year long. I still just have those blow-ups he has because I've been on the back end of those bets with him. Yep. That's made me like, God damn. Because I think Lopez, I mean, he's just been unbelievable. You know, like you mentioned, his ERA under 2, and I don't think it continues. But I think that at some point these Braves bats are going to, you know, come alive a little bit. And one guy I go back to here, his RBI is just really high. It's Austin Riley, and he's off an 0-for-4 day. But before that, he was red hot before the break, Bobano. He's 3 for 6 with a couple doubles off Hunter Green. His RBI is plus 180 here, plus 175 even on DraftKings. So I took a piece here, Austin Riley, RBI.
Good stuff. All right, we got Phillies and Twins. This is another game we mentioned already. Ranger Suarez, Bailey Ober. Slight road favorites, Philly, although the money's come in on Minnesota at 8 the total. I went team total here on Minnesota, over 3.5, minus 125. I think it's very cheap. We're only asking Twins to get 4 runs. They've hit lefties pretty well all year, and Ranger Suarez has been terrible the last 4 starts after that good start.
Talk about another guy whose start was unreal, yeah.
Yeah, and now he's kind of faded here in the last month. I mean, he's given up, as I mentioned, 19 runs in the last, 23 innings. And the most important thing about this bet, Minnesota's team total over 3.5, C-Mac, is in the last 5 Suarez starts, the opposition has scored 6, 5, 6, 4, and 5. 4 runs scored at least by the opposition in 5 straight Suarez starts, and we're only asking for 4 runs here for Minnesota for the team total. So I like that quite a bit here. C-Mac, what do you think?
Yeah, this is one that I looked at that same thing because what Suarez are we going to get? I don't think, like, if he pitches well, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, but I still think he gives up a few runs. So I don't mind that play at all because I was looking at the first 5, the 1.5. It's like minus 140, 150, and maybe splitting it with a 2.5, finding that at big plus money, like plus 145. So getting baited at, you know, plus 105 or right around that range, or just go the full game. Because, yeah, all year long, especially that last month and a half, Twins top, against lefties all year long. And even these games they just lost to the Brewers, they scored some runs. The pitching wasn't great. Ober, I don't know what we get. This Phillies team should score some runs
about
too.
The team total. Don't have to worry about what Ober does. He can do it. It's good or bad. Yep.
I got worried these maybe could pitch well, but I kind of like the over in this game. I think you get there. Tough one though, but I do like that. I wanted to mention the Twins versus lefties, but I want to go over here with Suarez. I just think that his good start comes back home, maybe, and maybe his next start, the one after that.
He's been better at home than on the road too.
Oh, his whole career, but he was dominant just out the gates when he went 10-1. So I like that bet a little bit. I'm gonna see if I could grab the 1.5, 2.5, kind of get that 2 with the push first 5.
There you go, the first 5 team total. All right, and then the last game I think before C-Mac joined us was White Sox Rangers. I really don't have much. I have a modest lean to the over here, but nothing strong with Fetty and Lorenzen.
White Sox. I take the White Sox first 5. Just kind of take that and nothing. I know Fetty, he's probably going to get hit a little more in the second half, and Lorenzen's been pretty good as well. Is this an under here? Maybe first 5 under.
Rangers lean to the over because I just watched the White Sox at Kauffman over the weekend against Kansas City score exactly 1 fucking run in each game. 1. Yeah.
Yes, 1 run. I was on 2 of the 3 unders. Royals almost got 1 game over that totaled themselves 7-1. I think it was the first one. I was on the under yesterday. like, is this tempting or what? It's 4.5 here. Fetty Lorenzen. I know Fetty's on the road. That's been his real shit thing his whole career. We talk about these certain guys on the road, even how great he's been this year. But I think you look at the White Sox, the value at least first 5, nothing full game, not with that. Both these bullpens though are awful. I mean, the Rangers are horrible too. And I don't know if do the Rangers make a move at all? You know, like they're off the World Series win. You know, they finally won yesterday 3-2, but I don't think they're a very good team. They've dealt with so many injuries. Yeah. The bats haven't been there. Lineup's been up and down, in and out. So yeah, White Sox here. But this under. I think maybe it's throw one here at the bullseye here. But I don't trust the bats. You know, with the White Sox, that's what I loved about the Royals. You know, you could have went team total. Those are always so sweaty for me. Like the team total, like under 1.5, 2.5, those type with these teams. Like, whew, gotta really love it to be on one of those.
No doubt. All right, we got another interleague series here. Arizona and Kansas City. Yilbert Diaz here for the Diamondbacks, and the Cole Reagan's the lefty for the Royals. Kansas City minus 155, home favorites, 8 the total. This definitely feels like it could be an under, at least a first 5 under. Yilbert Diaz has pitched all right. You know, we've seen him start twice now. Atlanta and Toronto. He's given up just 2 runs in 12 innings. He's pitched pretty well, pretty solid, pretty effective. We know Cole Reagan's pretty damn good, and he's had a pretty solid season overall for the Royals. Very consistent, 3.16 ERA on the season. Feels like this could be a low-scoring battle here tonight with the Diamondbacks and the Royals. So maybe a first 5 under. I like Reagan's and the Royals quite a bit, just overall. But at this price, I mean, against an Arizona team that's playing pretty well, Diaz has been pretty good in the 2 starts he's had. Might be some value on the dog here with Arizona, but first 5 under, I would lean. What do you think, C-Mac?
Yeah, just short trip here, Chicago to Kansas City. One thing though, and that's why this line's come down. I don't know if the Royals should be this big a favorite at all, too. I think the D-backs live. And one thing why they're live here, and I like them in this game, is there's been at times, especially the last 4 weeks or so before the break, where they've struggled against good lefties. But for the most part, this team's been great against lefties all year. I mean, they've been up there, slugging, on base, all that. And I've won plenty on them, whether it's their team total and stuff like that. But I think they're live here, so I'm on the D-backs as a dog.
All right, Arizona, there we go, taking a chance here with the big plus 130, plus 135 we're seeing here with Arizona in this one. All right, we move along. Next up, Boston and Colorado. Tanner Houck, Austin Gomber, the pitching matchup. Red Sox minus 160, home favorites, 10 the total. I'm breaking a cardinal rule of mine, and that is I usually never bet on a team coming off Sunday Night Baseball and traveling without a day off to their next game on Monday. And obviously that's Boston tonight. They were on Sunday Night Baseball against the Dodgers. They got swept by the Dodgers over the weekend. And normally I want to bet against Boston in a spot like this, but they got Tanner Houck on the mound. He's been great. He's been one of their best pitchers. Gomber's been brutal lately. Back to the old Austin Gomber we know quite well. I think Boston's in a angry mood after getting swept in Chavez Ravine over the weekend. They got a team that they're clearly can take out their frustrations on, a pitcher they can take their frustrations out on. So small, because I don't love the situationals where Boston's traveling from Sunday Night Baseball to the Mile High City here, but I did play a small Red Sox team total over 5.5 here in this game tonight. C-Mac, what do you think? Red Sox, Rockies.
I'm off this one. I really want to go with the Rockies. The bats just haven't been there at home, especially of late. Bobano, they just haven't scored some runs. I think that turns around, obviously. This lineup can be tough at times. Yeah, the Red Sox off the sweep just gave up a ton of home runs yesterday. This is the guy you want on the mound, even if it's Coors Field, right? Yep. To stop the bleeding. This is their best guy, Tanner Houck, and I think he could pitch okay. You know, under here, I was looking at that. Can Gomber be all right? I'm not so sure, but I was leaning 6-1, under.
6-2 Red Sox, I could see that, and it stays under full game. Yeah,
I was looking at this under, so that's all I had it.
All right, we got 3 games left. Houston and Oakland. Spencer Spaghetti Arrighetti on the mound for the Astros, and Hogan Harris for the Hogan's Heroes. Hogan Harris for Oakland. Houston minus 145, road favorites, 8.5 the total in this game. I'm riding it now. I'm riding it now until it stops cashing, and I've been doing that probably going back to before the break, coming out of the break. That's this Oakland team going over the total. I mean, they're hitting a decent amount. Their offense has actually really picked up. I mean, they've had a couple double-digit run games lately, the Oakland Athletics. And then even in the loss to the Angels on Sunday, they still scored 5 runs. And we know their pitching is a disaster sometimes. And I'm not exactly trustworthy of Hogan Harris. He's actually been solid, but we know long term, when the Astros lineup is right, we know they're capable of hitting left-handed pitching. And I think Houston could score tonight against this Oakland team, certainly the Oakland bullpen, which hasn't been good. But Spencer Arrighetti is someone, I still have doubts about. He's been a little better the last couple starts, but we'll see how he fares here. You've got certainly an Oakland team that's pounding the baseball. Houston, during this nice run that they've put together to get back to right there with Seattle for first in the AL West, they've been smashing the ball more. As of late, going back to the early part of July, they've been one of the better offensive teams in MLB since the early part of July, Houston. So at 8.5, I think this game goes over. And more than that, it's me just riding this Oakland streak, 5-0 to the over, 5 straight overs for Oakland coming into tonight. What do you think, C-Mac?
I know it went over again. Like when I see this matchup, I was just like over. There you go. Over. I know it's a night game. Arrighetti's been a little bit better, but it seems like after 2 or 3 good starts from him, that's when I think he's going to get ripped again. Yep. And it's tough because his A's offense has been dead last all year long, and they've had some crazy outbursts, and lately it's been there. And I don't trust Hogan Harris. I don't know how he's been getting by. I mean, congrats to him. Seems to go out there, just give him 4 or 5 innings, don't go through the lineup, the third time and get out of there with just 2 or 3. I don't know how much longer that continues because this guy got tattooed. Bobano. I know it's the PCL, it's Las Vegas, the ball travels, but you got to get it up in the air. There's something to that, but not everything. So I don't blame you. I mean, that was just kind of the obvious bet when you handicap this game to me. Over.
Yeah, and I like when I find a team that's going over the total every game, I usually start riding it until it loses. And that's where I'm at now with Oakland.
You stay on it.
Yeah, they just stay on it until it loses.
Hey, yep. I like the A's a little bit too.
Yeah. Their offense is certainly cooking. The pitching's still the worry, but yeah, I certainly Oakland and plus Houston. That was a huge series, right, against Seattle over the weekend.
Huge. How flat is this spot?
Real flat spot.
You go. I know they lost yesterday, 6-4. They kind of came back there, but yeah, you got to go to the shitty Coliseum tonight with Arrighetti on the bunt.
Yeah. Yeah, you can make a case situationally for Oakland. They're in that game tonight. There's no question. All right, 2 games left. Next up, Angels-Mariners. The aforementioned Mariners who avoided the sweep against the Astros with that win on Sunday. Bryce Miller on the mound for them tonight. Tyler Anderson, I've still got to get used to saying all-star. Tyler Anderson. I'm not used to saying that. But Bryce Miller and the Mariners minus 160 home favorites. The total in this one at 7.5, shaded to the under. Tyler Anderson did not have a good start against this very Seattle team before the break. The last time he pitched, 4 runs, 6 hits, 6 innings. Meanwhile, Bryce Miller on the mound for the Mariners in this start tonight. I mean, it's just the same thing as I always say about Bryce Miller. You get him in Seattle, you want your money on him. You get him out of Seattle, that's when you got to be careful, and you may want to fade him. And that's exactly what we've seen from Bryce Miller. 5.51 ERA on the road, compared to a 2.10 ERA here at T-Mobile Park in Seattle. So he's been absolutely lights out here in Seattle tonight. I didn't move on this game because, again, it's kind of, Seattle, that was a big series for them. Are they a little flat? And the price is not cheap, minus 160. But I certainly wouldn't want to fade Miller at home. So I would lean maybe Seattle first 5-run line, maybe. Other than that, not a strong opinion. C-Mac, what do you think? Angels, Mariners.
And this one's moved up, and it's kind of think I should be this game because there's just so many Mariner games with 7s at home, and they've stayed under. They got some runs last night, but I know this has moved up, but I don't really want to move on the over too much because I think Anderson could pitch better, and where he's been his best, but Bobano's on the road all year. He's got a 1.87. He's been really, really good. So I think he could pitch better, and you just said this is you want Miller. at home. This is just where he pitches. This is where he loves it. He's been way better at home. So I don't love this moved up a little bit, but I'd only be on the under in this game. And still, I think the Mariners are too big favorites here. The team still can't hit. One guy's turned it around, has some success, and I think he hit a homer that just 2 weeks ago, Julio Rodriguez off him. I mean, he's got to get going. That first half was pathetic. So they need him big time if they're going to do anything. Win the division, do anything in the playoffs.
No doubt. They've got to get his bat going. And by the way, you talk about a disappointment. They put Ty France on waivers yesterday, Seattle. What a disappointment. That guy was pretty good, at least to hit some home runs, and that's how far he's fallen for the Seattle Mariners right now for them. So, again, offense has been the issue for that team throughout most of the season. All right, last game, old school NL West rivalry. San Francisco Giants, LA Dodgers. Blake Snell for the Giants. River, where's your end? River Ryan here on the mound for the LA Dodgers. We've got the Dodgers minus 130, home favorites, 8.5 the total. I'm trying to find out some info about this guy. He's 25 years old, which tells me right away when you're making your major league debut, when you're 25 years old, how good can you be? I mean, my goodness, that's not exactly like he's ripping right out of the draft or right out of college, right into the big leagues like Paul Skeens. This ain't a Paul Skeens type prospect. Let's put it that way when it comes to River Ryan. Now, it looks like this year he missed the first 2 months of the season in the minors with shoulder issues, shoulder fatigue. He went to Oklahoma City, and he had a 2.76 ERA there. In 16.1 innings, pretty solid numbers. But again, when you're 25 years old and you're just now making your major league debut, how good are you? That would be the question I would have. I'll tell you about Blake Snell. He's had a lot of injuries. He had a rough start to the season. But Blake Snell has rounded into form here. 2 starts in the month of July, coming back from that left groin issue. Not giving up a run in his 12 innings here in the month of July. How about that for Blake Snell? So maybe he's turning a corner, looking like the vintage Blake Snell. And he's actually got pretty good numbers lifetime against the Dodgers. He hasn't pitched that badly against the Dodgers. 2.59 ERA for his career, Blake Snell against the LA Dodgers. And he's certainly seen a lot of them going back to his time in San Diego. So, Dodgers played Sunday. Now, they didn't travel, unlike Boston. Dodgers played Sunday Night Baseball last night, but they stay home at Dodger Stadium with Mary Hart and the crew. But when you look at this situation here for them, not as bad of a situational spot as, say, Boston. But I think it's telling that this number is minus 130. The Dodgers only minus 130 at home, and it has not moved an inch. It has not budged. It has not moved an inch. It kind of tells me maybe the Giants could be live here with a resurgent Blake Snell on the mound. What do you think here, T-Mac? Giants, Dodgers.
Yeah, the Giants bats. The Dodger bats were really good there the last few days. One guy that's seen him good going back to the World Series, Will Smith. There's a few guys that hit him well, but for the most part, those starts he's pitched great. Dominated the Dodgers the last few years, it seems like, with the Padres. So maybe look to Will Smith, though, here tonight. I got to check the numbers, his RBI, what the price is there. But I think the Giants are live in this game. Snell all of a sudden has flipped it. I think it was on the Giants that maybe I was on the under with him too right before the break. He pitched great. He just needed to get healthy, it said, and get reps because he just got thrown in there, was dealing with that, and just got tattooed. So I think he could pitch well. And what do we get from Ryan? I think he's only going to go 3 innings. 4 if he's pitching well. 4. Because the more I look at this, the bats are too hot. I'm like, this is an under, or both get hit a little bit. I kind of like the under. I just don't know what we get from Ryan in this game, who's looked pretty good. But he came into training late, like you're talking about. Like he had that shoulder problem, and he hasn't gone deep really in AAA, and they're just going to use him probably for this start and maybe another spot start with the Kershaw coming back. Paxton, by the way, they dropped him to the Dodgers. So they know they have some pitching coming back here with Kershaw. So Giants, all that. Giants first 5. I think you got to take a shot with them here.
All right, Giants first 5. And that might be the best approach because full game you're playing with the Russian roulette of that Giants bullpen, which has been hit or miss, pretty much all season. So
yeah, it's been pretty tough. You get minus 105. I was trying to get even money but -105 with Giants first 5.
No doubt. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Adams Digest, Mr. Heat, everyone watching. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. There's your Monday MLB card. I do want to mention just quickly, brief piece of breaking news. It looks like TNT has apparently matched the Amazon rights offer for the
Really?
NBA. So the question now is, it's in the ball's in the NBA's court, no pun intended. That the NBA now has got to basically decide: do we want to let TNT in on this TV deal beyond next season for the new deal? And split it maybe between Amazon and TNT. But TNT is going to pony up the same money that Amazon paid for their NBA portion of the NBA rights. So the inside the NBA, if NBA decides to let TNT in and get a portion of the rights, the inside the NBA may not be dead after next season. After all, even though Charles Barkley was pretty adamant that he is still retiring, I think he said regardless of what happens, he's still retiring from being on that after this upcoming season. But did want to mention that because I know a lot of people love that show, and why not? It's been one of the better studio shows in recent memory. Looking forward to, of course, football season's on the way.
Entertaining.
Yeah.
Let's say it like that.
Yeah.
Entertaining. Yeah.
It definitely has. It's been great. Yeah, as far as entertainment, there's no doubt. I'll say this, whether it's Pub Sports Radio on their network or on this channel, C-Mac and I will be back for Hitting the Books. We will have Hitting the Books this year once again. College football, we love doing that show. Mondays early in the week, set the table for the week ahead in college football, all the weeknight games, many of the key Saturday games. I'm looking forward to that show. We're going to be starting that show in a month. It's hard to believe it, but it is right around the corner, C-Mac, college football, NFL as well. Just 1 month away.
I'm pumped. I got work to do, though. I'm only dipped my toe in it here a little bit.
No doubt. That's just, again, you got a month still. Lots of time to get things all ready to go. All right. It is best bet time to wrap up this edition of Bet with Bobano. C-Mac, we'll start with you. What do you like for best bet here tonight?
I was trying to find. God, they don't have umpire back there yet. All right, give it to me here. Brewers, Cubs, first 5 under 4.5, -115. I'm on it. Got to take it. That's it. Aside, though, I'm taking the D-backs. That's my dog here. A little 2 action. I'll give the 2.
There you go. Arizona, Diamondbacks. And look, I like some Nicole Reagans when he's on the mound, but at that price against a pretty good Arizona team, it's playing a little bit better right now. And Diaz has been solid. I understand why it looks like there's some value maybe on Arizona at that price. So a little Arizona as a bonus dog, but under first 5, Cubs, Brewers, primary best bet here for C-Mac. I'll throw out 2 best bets because I'm undecided on which one to use for best bet. I'm going to go Detroit -125. So I'll give you one side, one team total. I'll give you Detroit -125 against Cleveland. I do like that one. Scooble over Carrasco. Detroit's playing better. Cleveland's finally cooled off a little bit. So I like Detroit -125 against Cleveland. And I'll give you Minnesota team total over 3.5, -125 against Philadelphia. I just like that they hit lefties. Ranger Suarez is a struggling lefty. He hasn't pitched well the last month. So we'll give you a bonus 2 best bets today for this Monday edition of the show. Detroit -125, Minnesota Twins team total over 3.5, -125. There you go.
Oh, yeah.
A couple of best bets for this Monday. All right, great stuff. Shout out to everyone for joining us. Hit the like button on the way out. We appreciate you guys tuning in. And for C-Mac, great job as always. I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Monday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we will be back with you tomorrow on Tuesday for another edition of the show. Bet like Tony Soprano, bet with Bobano, and we will catch you next time right here on Bet with Bobano.
Peace.